All right, everybody. Well, it is the top of the hour, and so we want to be respectful of everybody's time, and we want to start by saying thank you. Thank you so much for those of you who are logging on this evening to give us your time to hear more about the Ranching Systems degree program that we offer here at Montana State University. We have a wonderful presentation put together for you tonight that we hope gives you a deep dive into one of the really special academic programs that we offer here at Montana State University, and specifically through our College of Agriculture. So again, thank you for your time. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping first and foremost for those of you who are joining us. And Rachel, if you wouldn't mind going to that tech help slide real quick. All right. For those of you who are logging in, if you see my lips moving, but you don't hear my voice coming through your speaker, this is some information about how you can join us through an alternative method. So you can see our webinar number up there. Hopefully nobody had any issues logging on this evening, but you can see the password. If you would like to, you can call in to tonight's webinar if you're having some tech issues with your computer. And you can see that we offer both a toll-free and a toll option, and it provides you with the access code. That access code is just the same code as our webinar number for the evening. And throughout the evening, we have a couple of panelists that are going to be joining us that are here to just answer questions, one of which is me. You're not going to hear too much from me this evening, but I want you to know that I'm here for you, and I'm here to help answer any questions that you all might have. So for those of you who are joining us as attendees, if you go down to the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a little Q&A link, and we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask us any questions that you all have. We're going to do this deep dive into the degree program, but maybe it's something about the College of Agriculture in general. Maybe it's something about your admissions status. We have Liz Greenfield, who's the assistant or associate director with our College of Agriculture, or associate dean, I should say, with our College of Agriculture, joining us this evening. And she's here to help answer any questions that you might have on the agriculture side of things. We're going to introduce ourselves as your hosts, but I'm here as a representative from the Office of Admissions. So with that Q&A feature, feel free to let us know anything that you want to know about what we're covering with tonight's presentation, or what your opportunities might be here at Montana State, and we'll definitely be more than happy to take some time in diving into all of that. So the tech help slide is all right up there for you. We are recording this evening's session as well, and we're probably going to post this recording in a couple of different places. We're probably going to post it through the Ranching Systems website. We're going to also post it to our Webinar Wednesday homepage, as we do for those of you who have joined us with any of our other webinars throughout the year. We post every single recording that we have, and this is not going to be any different. So we're looking forward to hopefully having everybody join live, but if not, we're going to give you that opportunity to catch us later as well. So next up, with the next slide, your hosts for this evening. Who am I? For those of you who I haven't had an opportunity to meet yet, my name is Anders Groseth, and I have the privilege of serving as the Associate Director of Recruitment here for Montana State University, and as I mentioned earlier, specifically with our Office of Admissions. I've now worked at Montana State University for the last 15 years. I'm a Bozeman guy. Born and raised. Bozeman is my hometown, and so this is always what made most sense for me, is to come to Montana State University. I spent 4 years here as an undergraduate student, graduating in 2008 through our liberal studies program, and I started working for the Office of Admissions immediately after I graduated. It's the best job you could ever have, and they haven't fired me yet, so I keep showing up. So, but as I mentioned, you're not going to hear too much from me this evening. We have a phenomenal host that's here to give this deep dive, and that's Dr. Rachel Frost, and I'm going to hand it over to her, and I'm going to tune out and let her introduce herself and get going this evening. So thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Anders. Really appreciate that introduction. And I just want to welcome all of you here. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to address this audience of students, students who are specifically interested in ranching. So I am the program lead for the Dan Scott Ranch Management Program here at Montana State. I got a couple of degrees in animal science and in rangeland ecology. And right now I teach all of the courses that are directly related to ranching systems. So forage and natural resource management on ranches, systems thinking for ranches, a couple of others, and then the internships that are associated with the program. You'll hear more about all of these as we go through this presentation. The other thing that I do is I advise all of the students who are in ranching systems. So if you come here and that's your major, then you'll have me as a freshman advisor all the way through your coursework there. So what I want to do this evening is a couple of things. First, I want to talk about the ranching systems degree. I'm just going to go through a couple of slides, provide you some of that key information. And then I think Anders is going to break all the rules. We're going to let everybody unmute and just have a conversation about it so that I can answer any questions that you have specifically. If you have a question and you're afraid you're going to lose it, be sure and type it in that Q&A. And Anders and Liz will be monitoring that and getting that information out so we can get your questions answered before the end of this webinar for sure. The other thing is we'll give you contact information. Feel free to contact me directly following this webinar, and I am happy to visit with you individually about what your pathway through Montana State University and a ranching systems degree would look like. What I want to do first, though, is get to know a few of you students just a little bit. And if you would all please type in your current major into that Q&A box right now. And I'll just see those kind of roll by because I want to know who my audience is, and that'll help me answer a few questions. All right, so ranch management. By that, do you mean the farm and ranch management in ag business, or are you ranching systems? Okay, I think maybe there's, because that's part of the reason we're hosting this webinar is we have several, we have a little bit of some similar sounding names for majors. I want to make sure that you guys are getting into the actual, the program that you want to be in and that's going to serve you the best. Okay. Oh, nice. All right. So I see some farm and ranch management, see ranching systems, independent education consultant. Awesome. Ag business, but would prefer ranch systems. Great. All right. Well, I want to hopefully answer any questions and let you guys know that you are solid in the major that you want to be in at the end of this webinar tonight. So I'm going to dive right in and we'll cover the information that's pertinent to ranching systems. And then, like I said, we'll have sort of a Q&A at the end where I can answer some specific questions about this program. So the first thing I want to talk about is why did we have a ranch management program? Why a ranching systems major at MSU? And I would say that, you know, there's ranching is just like any other industry right now. They are really looking for solid, skilled employees. You know, and there's the other question I get is why would you have a college degree in anything? Why would you get a college degree in ranching? Do you need a college degree? I would say that there's, you know, ranches are such complex businesses that they deal with the animals, they deal with the other employees and the people that are the owners and working for that ranch, and they deal with the natural resources, the landscape that they operate in. So those kind of complex businesses really need students, graduates, employees that have a broad knowledge base, and that it's also deep in each one of those areas. College is going to be the best way to get that education and get a jump on it there. So ranches are like any other business. They're needing solid employees that can really walk that business through the management of their finances, their livestock production, and the natural resources there. Just getting this slide to advance. There we go. Yeah, so I wanted to touch on these two majors that have very similar names and help you determine which major is right for me. So ranching systems, the program that I lead, really the graduates are the ones on the ground. They're the ones that are actually deciding the management strategy and then implementing it on the ranch. They're the ones that live on the ranch and they work day to day there. Farm and ranch management is a really fantastic degree. You are also equipped with a lot of the same skills in ranching systems, but it's much heavier on the financial end of it. So most of the graduates there operate more from the standpoint of an advisory capacity and providing guidance to ranches on the best management practices. They're not necessarily living and working on that ranch on a day-to-day basis. So that's the difference between those two degrees. Very similar names, both of them working with ranches, both fantastic degrees, but just a little bit of difference in how they interact with those ranches on a day-to-day basis. So one of the questions that I get a lot from students is, you know, I don't have a background in ranching. Is ranching systems still a viable option for me? And my answer is it's okay. A lot of our students are coming in here and they don't have a background in ranching. Greg Collins graduated just a couple of days ago from ranching systems. He came without any background in ranching. He is just now starting his first week on a job in a ranch in Oregon as a division manager. What Greg and the other students on this slide came to this program with is, instead of a background in ranching, they came with a really intense curiosity, a desire to learn everything that they possibly could about ranching, and they came with a really strong work ethic. If you come with a great work ethic and a tremendous desire to learn and to just dive into that, then there is nothing that's going to keep you from being successful in ranching, for sure, whether you've grown up on a ranch or not. I mean, true, there's going to be some things that you're going to need to catch up on. There's going to be some leveling that needs to happen in your skills and in your basic knowledge. But these students have done that, and they've shown that it can be done very successfully. So I have no doubt that the rest of you guys can, if you're not coming from a ranch background. The other thing that a lot of students coming into this program say that they want to do is that they plan to own their own ranch someday. You know, honestly, there's probably nothing more American than the dream of owning your own ranch, especially in Montana, right? With views like that. Here's where the challenge becomes greater if you don't come from a family that is already has land, or that you're not independently wealthy yourself. However, that's what's so great about the ranching systems degree. You do not need to own a ranch to be directly involved in ranching. And so if your dream is to own your own ranch, you might actually consider the other possibility, which is managing a ranch for an absentee owner. Because in that case, you don't necessarily need to own the ranch and have that huge expense and go into debt, but you can be directly involved in the day-to-day management of that ranch and helping those owners achieve the goals, helping to steward this landscape like the one that you see on this picture. And so ranching systems really lets you have a successful career, be directly involved in ranching, even if you don't own the land and come from that background. Now let's just dive in and talk about the degree itself. We talked a little bit about who might be interested in the degree and some of the questions that folks who are interested in it have, but let's look at the classes itself. What is the education that you're going to get coming out with a ranching systems degree? This pie chart shows you about how many credits you're going to be taking in each of these three prime areas: animal science, rangeland management, and business. Those are the three key components to operating a ranch. So the majority of your credits are going to be centered in those three areas. And then there's 7 specific courses to ranching systems. And those include the internships. They include classes like finances and decision-making in ranching systems that helps you pull in your business, your animal science, and your rangeland management all together and collectively use those courses to make decisions in these complex environments. The remaining courses that make up the 120 credits that you need to graduate, there's just a few university core courses in there, but the most of them are your math and your science prerequisites that build the foundations for those animal science and those rangeland management courses and provide that background information that's necessary. So really a focused degree. You're going to be just, I would say, every hour that you spend in the classroom is really directly contributing to your future career here in ranching systems. And that's part of what makes Montana State University so great, is that there's just a tremendous focus on those courses that are directly applicable to your career upon graduation. One of the things that's very unique about the ranching systems degree is that we are incredibly focused on the individual quality education that students receive here. To that end, this is a restricted entry major. So we accept 10 students per year into the program. Now, when that acceptance occurs is actually the fall of the sophomore year. So any of you students who are on here, you can all declare ranching systems as your major as an incoming freshman. Get a taste for that degree, visit with me, learn about your opportunities in there, and really start building that foundation to it. In the fall of your sophomore year, we're going to ask you students to apply for admissions to go the rest of the way into that program, to get up into those ranching systems courses, specifically those internships. And we have a couple of requirements. First is that you have achieved 36 credits towards the ranching systems degree. So basically you've been a full-time student here at MSU and you've made satisfactory progress so that you're going to graduate on schedule. The other is that we ask for a 2.75 MSU cumulative GPA. That's something that is easily attainable by you students. We have tons of support here at MSU to help make that academic achievement well within your grasp. So don't let that scare you. So you're thinking, all right, Rachel, this is limited admissions. I'm one of 20 students who are freshmen coming into ranching systems. How do I ensure I'm one of those 10 that gets accepted and goes on to have the internships and that direct experiential learning? Or what happens if I'm not? So how do you ensure that you're one of the 10? The best way is to, A, work hard at school, and B, just really dive into it, see if you can get a part-time job, get any experience that you can working on a ranch to ensure that that's really what you want to do, and that helps sets you up better for it. Work experience, period, helps to make your application a little bit more competitive. But really what we're looking for is those students, like I said earlier, that have that really intense desire to learn and that they're willing to seek out information, own their education, and that have a great work ethic. The next part of that question is what happens if I apply along with 12 other students and I am not accepted into the program? What happens then? Have I messed up my career at MSU and my ability to graduate with a degree? The short answer to that is no, absolutely not. If you look at most of our animal science related courses, College of Ag courses, that first year, that freshman year, looks very similar. So if you don't make it into the ranching systems degree through that selection process, you can easily pivot without losing any ground into livestock management industry option under an animal science degree or back to an ag business degree. So there's a number of ways that you can just pivot slightly and flawlessly continue your education on at MSU. I tell all of the students, don't be afraid of this limited admissions. It's actually your friend, because when you make it, when you get to be one of those 10 students who's accepted into ranching systems, then you are one of 10 graduates who are entering the job field. So how exciting is that to be one of 10 qualified students entering the job field, as opposed to one of multiple hundreds of graduates within a specific job field as well. So don't be afraid of that limited admissions, really embrace that and just work hard to be one of those select students, kind of the few, the proud, right? So now let's talk about the internships. Those are the crown jewel of the ranching systems degree program. It's what sets us apart from any other program as far as providing that direct connection between what you will actually be doing in your job and the academic coursework that you're doing. So students, once they're accepted into the program, as soon as that happens in the fall of your sophomore year, I'm immediately starting to think about where to pair you with the ranch that you would be working with for the next 2 summers. You have input in that process. I find out, what's your experience level, what you really want to do. Do you want to work on a cow-calf production, commercial production operation? Are you wanting to look more at the genetics and registered operations? We find out about you and we do the best we can to match with the ranch that is going to do the best to achieve all the education goals and career goals that you have there. And you will develop a strong partnership with this ranch. You'll work with them for the next 2 consecutive summers, the summer between your sophomore and junior year and the summer between your junior and senior year. Those internships will run from mid-May to mid-August. So my students right now, they're all completing about week 1. They started first day on the job of May 15th, and so they're end of week 1 on the job. I was hoping to have one of those students join us tonight and answer some questions, but she's been really, really busy, and so I think she's still working on the ranch this evening and not able to join. They are paid internships. You're not going to get rich doing these internships, but you will earn a salary, and housing is provided for all of the internships there as well. Okay? And then the second summer, instead of just really working and wrapping your head around that operation, you're going to be doing a project for that ranch. You're going to be helping them answer a management question. That's going to give you that real life experience where you can say, okay, this is a problem, understand the context of that complex problem, and be able to work through potential solutions using the data and the information from that working ranch. Really exciting part of the project, and something that, again, I said this is the crown jewel that sets us apart from any other ranch management program in the US, quite frankly. So what can you do post-graduation as a career? If you get a degree in ranching systems, what are your options? So obviously there is a ranch management option there. I mean, we want our graduates to move into that management field. I will say, just like a lot of other, degrees that you graduate with at the undergraduate level specifically, you're not going to go immediately from student to boss on a big operation. There's definitely a pathway to management. This degree really rocket launches you down that pathway, and it gives you such an advantage over students who, either just go directly into the workforce and don't even make college an option, or B, they take a different pathway and they're not getting all of those different aspects of ranching, and they're not getting that experiential component with it as well. So there's definitely that option, but there's also a ton of support industries that directly serve the ranching industry. And on all of these have expressed interest in students coming out of this program because they're so well-rounded, because they could talk to ranches and really understand their specific situation and help them solve problems and meet their needs. So don't think that this is, only the cowboy degree and that is all you can do with a degree in ranching systems. There is a number of different professional pathways that graduates would be really well suited to pursue. And I only listed a fraction of the companies that would express interest in our graduates here. And then all of the different, options that you can find, what really floats your boat and what interests you, and pursue that as a professional career. So I went through this pretty darn quick. Here is my contact information. I would love to visit with each and every one of you individually and provide more detail to, specifically you and what your pathway and your progression through this program looks like. I'd like to be able to talk with you about how it differs from other programs at other universities or even within MSU as well. Like I said, those internships are definitely unique to ranching systems at MSU. The way that we work with you and match you individually with ranches, that's part of what makes this program so special. The other thing that makes this program so special is the great faculty that we work with across multiple different departments and across different colleges that help teach our classes and help to, grow our students, not only in the classroom, but also in their leadership as well. So this is my contact information, my direct email, also my direct office line. Please feel free to give me a call, and I'm happy to answer any questions. But right now, I would love to see kind of what's coming in the Q&A, or let Anders unmute you guys and ask questions and just have a conversation now about anything from admissions to specific ranching system stuff. So
Yeah.
Anders, if you want to unmute.
Yeah, sure. So I've unmuted myself, and for everybody who's logged on this evening, when you all filled out your registration form, we got some really good questions that were submitted through your registration forms. I know that Dr. Frost kind of touched on some of these as she was presenting throughout the evening, but just pointedly, some of you asked the questions. So let's get you some answers to them, and then as she mentioned, I would love to unmute everybody so that you have an opportunity to raise your hand, ask a question that one of us could answer specifically. So for your submitted questions, though, Dr. Frost, one of the questions that came in, we had this phenomenal list of questions, and one of them was, what major should I choose if I want to be a rancher one day and have my own cattle ranch? I want the background to know how to care for livestock and how to run a business. Do you have some kind of tailored answer for a degree program that might be that best path forward for a student in that scenario?
Yeah, I'm going to completely just say ranching system's going to be your best option for that. If you are wanting to work directly on the land, there is no other degree that's going to give you what you specifically mentioned, is that you want to have the background to be able to know how to care for your livestock. That's what those credits in animal science are specifically for, is to help you understand how to select, care, and get the maximum performance and health and production out of your livestock, right? That's one of the things that that degree in farm and ranch management, it does not have nearly an emphasis on that actual livestock care portion for it, portion in it, okay? So we're definitely going to touch that. And then you want to know how to run a business. That is the business and the finance portion of the ranching systems degree. No other degree is going to offer you the option to be able to solve mostly financial based problems when it comes to the ranch management. Many of the problems, the ranch projects that our students have done have been financial focused. You know, what is the best option to provide the greatest return on my investment for this business? You know, how do I know if I should be running cow calf pairs or if I should be investing in stockers? Which one of those is going to be the best financially viable option for my operation? So ranching systems definitely hits all of the things that were specifically mentioned in that question, but also has a focus on how do we care for our largest asset, which is our land base. You know, the land base is critical to protect that so that it is able to continue to support the livestock, the wildlife, the recreation, the other industries perhaps that you use on there. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that ranching systems is by far gonna be the best option if you want to operate your own ranch in the
Cool.
future.
Right on. Um, the other question that I think is really important, you know, especially for entering first year students, is they kind of want to know what the experience is going to be. They want to know what they're going to be doing, and you know, we'll get to the internship portion. But to start with, one of the questions was, what will some of the specific first year courses be for this program? If you can detail that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, the freshman year for many of the degrees within the College of Agriculture looks pretty similar. You're taking intro to animal science, you're taking intro to natural resource management, you know, very specific courses, but then you're also hitting some of those, I mentioned those foundational science courses. It's a Bachelor of Science in ranching systems, so we do need some chemistry, some biology, and those are prerequisites that are really going to set you up to be successful in those animal nutrition, physiology, and anatomy classes, you know, animal reproduction, all the things that we think are those fun, really, you know, useful, relevant classes. We need that background in chemistry and biology. So you'll definitely be diving into that, hitting some of the basics of, you know, good communication from a writing perspective, and then the basic math skills that you're going to need to advance there. So that will fill some of your freshman year, but then, like I said, that intro to animal science, intro to natural resource management. Um, I do want to touch on this because I know it's really important that you want to have a sense of belonging to ranching systems and kind of finding out who's the other majors. One of the things that we do each semester is we have what we call a fall gather and we have a spring gather. And you know, in the fall, we'll get together with all the ranching systems majors from freshmen to seniors. We have a potluck. We kind of come together, we eat, and we just fellowship and visit. The upperclassmen are going to talk about that all important internship experience. And then they're also just going to talk about, man, how did we get through organic chemistry? You know, how did we work together to pass anatomy and physiology, right? And so we'll eat a little bit and we'll visit. You get to hear their stories about their ranches and about their pathway through here and just get to know who your cohorts are. The freshmen love it because they find other ranching systems majors and then they immediately start to create study groups within people that have a common interest and common career goals. So we do that every semester, just get together and eat and you know, kind of pull together as a major. We're small, but we're mighty and we're really tight, and the students get to know each other and work together really well.
Cool. Right
Anything
on.
else that or anyone else that we could add about that for those freshman level courses? I know one of them asked too, Anders, about the size of those classes. That's one thing too that I think that MSU does a fantastic job on. some of those courses that all of our freshmen need to take can get large. The chemistry and the biology can have larger lecture classes, but when you get into your labs, those are really small, like 25 students per lab. And then the rest of those core courses, even the math and the writing, uh, we do an excellent job of keeping those course or those class sizes really small. So you have a lot of one-on-one time with those instructors, and you're really able to um, connect with those instructors and with other students and not get lost in a big crowd.
Yeah.
Anything I should add to that, Anders or Liz?
If I could just add something to that from kind of from an admissions side of things, for the students that have joined this evening, if I could put myself back in time 20 years, when I was in your shoes, one of the things that was really sort of a point of apprehension for me with coming to Montana State was that we are, for the state of Montana, we're a big school. On a national scale, we tend to be more into that small to mid-sized university bucket. But for the state of Montana, we are a big school, and I'm not the type of person that's going to thrive in that environment of, the couple hundred people in a classroom. When Dr. Frost was talking, our largest class that we offer at Montana State is intro chemistry. It's required of so many different majors that just it's sort of a y'all come running type of experience. But one thing that's really important for you all to hear as entering students with Montana State, we do an academic audit every year. And that academic audit provides us some insight into the classroom experience of our students. If you look at MSU as a whole, from the first day that you set foot on campus till you walk across that stage and receive your diploma that you've earned, the average class size that we have at Montana State University is only 30 students in the classroom. It's a really tight-knit academic community, exactly like Dr. Frost was saying. A lot of those first year courses are the ones that tend to be bigger. Like I said, that intro chemistry, the biologies and the ecology programs and things like that. At Montana State, if you look at that academic audit, our average first year class size, those 100 level classes, our average 100 level class size is only 40 students in the classroom. We don't want to throw students into this environment where they don't feel comfortable raising their hand to ask questions. We want you to know who the all-stars are in your classes, who you want to do homework with, who you want to set up your study groups with. And so we really pride ourselves on, for the size of university that we are, we want to feel like the smallest institution possible so that you feel like you have that thumbprint experience with your peers and classmates. So, Liz, anything else that you have to offer on that front?
I don't think so. Can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you guys covered it for sure. I just know that we're here to take really good care of you, and we put a lot of thought and effort into class sizes and to making those communities count at the freshman level. So yeah.
Right on. Cool. Um, Dr. Frost, we just had a question come into the chat. What activities outside of a solid GPA and work ethic freshman year helps a candidate be most attractive to get into the program? Joining specific clubs, being involved with different activities, or anything else along those lines? I think that's, that well-rounded student approach. That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question, Anders and Brian. Thank you for submitting that. Yeah, we have so many clubs and so many opportunities to get involved within the College of Ag. I can't even begin to list all of the different ones that are there, but the more you do that, I mean, just the more that you network within this tremendously large field that we call agriculture, the more you learn about different students, where they come from, and then each club also connects to different aspects of the industry. And so you're going to be able to meet industry professionals, and you're going to be able to learn more about what issues are specifically, or what issues each industry is facing, and how to go about, tailoring your education to solve it. So definitely get involved. We have collegiate stock growers, we have young professionals in farm and ranch management. We have collegiate cattle women, the collegiate wool growers, just to name a few, collegiate FFA. Any of those are fantastic ways to be involved on campus and just help create that network of support for yourself. I do advocate that you get some employment experience in a career closely related to ranching, or if you've been working on a ranch, you know, grew up on a ranch and you have some experience there, like do something crazy, like go work at a coffee shop and get some customer service experience.
Yep.
That's going to round you out too, as well, and just going to give you some other skills when it comes to that leadership component, that personnel management aspect of managing a ranch that is going to serve you well. So I do look at work history and I look at student involvement aside from that GPA as well, whenever we're assessing these applications. And again, we're looking for potential. We're looking for excited students that get here and dive in, become involved, and really put the effort into it. Other other things I should add to that, Liz or Anders, that help these students be successful.
Yeah, I would say that we want our students to be well-rounded. Of course, you're going to have great experiences within the classroom, but the other part of your education, this hidden curriculum is what we call it, is for you to get involved outside of the classroom. So Kyla, I saw that you put down you're heavily involved in FFA, or would it be a good idea to do steer a year? Absolutely. And so we want our students to enhance what they've done in high school and or get out and try something different. And so the way you had asked, how does it work in college for FFA? A lot of our students join collegiate FFA, and it's a little bit different than high school FFA in that our collegiate FFA is more about giving back to their community, especially within the Montana community. A lot of our collegiate FFA members are helping to put on the state FFA program as well as programs around the state. I know that Rachel's daughter is actually coming in as a freshman as well, and was very heavily involved in FFA, and I hopefully will continue at the collegiate level as well. So, Rachel, do you want to add anything else about collegiate FFA? That's a pretty big part of our community here.
Yeah, I just echo what Liz said, that there's so many ways to be involved. And I know, you know, we have a welcome back picnic within the Department of Animal and Range Sciences every year, and all of our clubs will set up, and you can visit with club members and you can find out what those clubs are about and what they're involved in and what kind of experiences you would get if you join those clubs. So I really encourage you, when you get here, take advantage of those opportunities where those clubs are setting up and they're there to answer questions. You know, try to talk to me, talk to one of the other advisors, and find out when those clubs are meeting, and go to meetings and figure out where it's going to be a great place for you to land and stay involved. You guys have been involved. You know, your answer is saying that you're heavily involved in FFA and other things like that. You're going to want that same kind of involvement when you get to college. It's going to do the same thing for you that it did in high school. It's going to provide opportunities, not just professional opportunities, but it's also going to provide those friendship and networking opportunities that's going to help get you plugged in and successful on campus. So yeah, Brian, just to circle back around to your question, you know, a well-rounded student on campus and off campus is ideal for this program in particular.
For any of the students or parent and family members that are logged on this evening, you've heard me say this before. This is something I often talked about. But if you break down a student's 4-year college career into hours, what you end up having is you spend about 1 year in a classroom. Again, if you break down that 4 years into hours, it's about 1 year that you spend in a classroom. So you have 3 years of what at Montana State, what we consider the co-curricular experience. It's that community building, it's that networking, it's the relationships that you make. And we can't overemphasize how important it is to find that sense of place. It will make you be a more successful student once you know that you have a social circle and a support system that's going to lift you up by your boots when you get that exam back and don't do so hot. How do you hit reset? That's that co-curricular experience. So the more diversified you can be outside of the classroom, generally speaking, the more successful you'll be inside the classroom, is what we tend to find. So with that, we do have some other questions that were submitted, but I really do think it would be kind of a cool opportunity if we could just unmute everybody. If you want to immediately mute yourself again, this is a no pressure environment. Don't feel like you have to ask a question, but your voices are important to us. The fact that you're giving us the time tonight, and we want to give you, we want to give you a little bit of an opportunity to ask those questions. So, So if I could, I'm going to go here. I'm just going to unmute everybody. And if you have a question, if you would, I think there's a raise your hand option, kind of towards the bottom of your screen. You'll see a little hand next to the emoji sign. Raise your hand, and then we'll kind of just work through these one by one and make sure that everybody has that opportunity to ask. So with that, I think you all can now unmute yourselves. I can't manually unmute you, but if you have a
Awesome.
question, unmute yourself and throw it at us, and we'll be more than happy to elaborate on what we can. But in the meantime, we did get another question that's in the Q&A feature right now. Can you review the specific process for applying to be one of those 10 ranching systems students? When does that process start, and what does the application look like? I'm actually interested in that as well. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's a great question to provide more detail to that. So that process starts in the fall of your sophomore year. So October-ish is when those applications will open. They're going to be open for a couple of weeks. And then once those close, we'll proceed through the selection process. The application consists of a resume. It consists of 2 letters of reference. And then we'll have about 3 specific questions that really are just to kind of gauge your career goals. A little bit to gain your current knowledge of ranching, but career goals. There's no right or wrong answer to those questions. It'll be things like, what do you hope to get out of an internship on a ranch? What type of ranch do you want to be placed on and why? Those types of questions. So you'll submit that packet that has the resume, the letters of reference, the answers to those questions, and your transcripts to me during that open application period. And then I have a panel that helps me review those applications. And then we will do in-person interviews for all of the applicants, which is super fun. I so enjoy that part because we just get to know you as students, and it's not really a pressure-filled environment. It's just really a curiosity-filled environment, which is great. And then within a day after those interviews are over, whether or not you've been accepted into the program. So plenty of time to, if you are not for some reason, that you can adjust your courses by the spring semester if you need to change majors. But to this point, really, most of the students know it kind of self-selects. They kind of know whether they have a good chance of getting in, and we have, usually right at 10 or a 1 or 2 less that are applying for the program and get to that point. I do want to touch on that GPA really quickly too, because that 2.75, that is a GPA that is designed to, if you come in your freshman year and you have a really rough time on one of those courses, you're still able to get that 2.75. You're able to get back up to it, even if that first semester of your freshman year, when you're trying to get everything oriented and you're in this great new place and there's so many exciting things going on, and oh yeah, we have class too. If you do that your first semester, which I do not suggest you do, you can recover. You can get up to that 2.75 GPA. Then what happens if you're accepted to it and you fall below it? You have a semester of grace to get that back up. So you can be down at a 2.69 or something like that. Just need to get back up to a 2.75 that next semester to stay in the ranching systems program. Anything else that I could think of, or Anders, that I did not cover clearly in there as far as that application process?
Well, I was just going to say one extra little plug for any of you students who are going to be joining us, who are going to come in with a scholarship. If you're from the state of Montana, you're going to have a Premier Scholarship, or if you're coming in from out of state, you're going to have an Achievement Award. The university's requirement for you to keep that scholarship is a 3.0 GPA. So there's some monetary motivation in order to continue being a good student. You were a good student in high school. That's what earned you the scholarship. We hope that you'll continue to be a good student at Montana State, not only to keep that scholarship, but to keep open every opportunity academically that we have at the university. So that's the
Yeah.
only
The other thing too, you just made me think of that, Anders, is there are specific scholarship opportunities to the Dan Scott Ranch Management Program and the ranching systems majors as well. So, I mean, you're eligible for several specific scholarships to this program.
Cool. Anybody else have any other questions? We got about 15 minutes to the top of the hour. We don't have to take all of your time this evening, but we're happy to spend it with you. So if you do have any other questions that we haven't touched on this evening, College of Agriculture in general, ranching systems specifically, go real big with Montana State University questions. If you want to raise your hand, if you want to just throw it into the chat feature, we're happy to answer anything that you all have for us. So don't be shy.
Oh, nice. Kyla says she's planning on going to FFA Nationals in October. How bad would it be to be missing 1 week of school? So, you know, sometimes we can't let school get in the way of some really important educational activities, right? So the important part about that would be to plan ahead. Let your professors know that you will be missing, why you will be missing, make sure that you are caught up in all of your classes and that you get work ahead of time if possible, and that you're completing all of your assignments. I mean, the onus is really on you in college. You're responsible for getting your work and doing your work. It's not the professor's responsibility to do that. So, it shouldn't affect you to be missing that much class as long as you stay on top of it. Follow up if there's opportunities for those lectures to be posted online so that you can still get the content. Make sure you're getting friends to take notes for you, something like that. Be proactive and you should be just fine.
Cool. My friend Matt always used to say, don't let college get in the way of your education. So sometimes those additional opportunities are really what make the experience special. So
yeah. The intent of college is never to stop living just to go to school, right? It's part of life. It's part of our growing experience. And so we do want to keep that option open. And I do want to mention too, like there is a time or two that we miss school for ranching systems. Like there's something really cool going on. Ranches are hosting educational opportunities or, potential employers. We have gone and toured some of Ted Turner's operations and really large ranches and just see how they're doing things in the field. And we miss class to do that every now and then. And it's okay. It's part of the education process. So I saw a question that came through that said, what does the number of admitted freshmen look like this year for ranching systems? So are you playing the odds? Are you wondering what your odds are of being one of those 10, right? So the real answer is that I don't know, because we don't know exactly how many freshmen who've signed up and declared ranching systems are actually going to come. I mean, maybe some of you guys who aren't currently ranching systems majors might swap over and you might add to that pool. So what I can tell you is last year we had 15 students that came in as freshmen in ranching systems. And I would say it's probably going to be, 15 to 20 is the number that we would be expecting to come in as ranching systems. And some of those students are going to get here and they're going to decide that they want to do something else. That it's not that uncommon as freshmen to explore all those opportunities and go, hey, I think this floats my boat a little bit more than maybe ranching systems will. So don't be afraid if 20 come in there and your odds are 50-50. If it's what you want to do and you stay committed to it, you'll have a really good chance of being admitted to it. And there's also the possibility that we could be taking more than 10. Part of that was so that we could have opportunities to recruit really fantastic ranches as hosts, because that is our goal, is to send you somewhere to these great ranches that are going to give you a fantastic learning experience. We are growing all the time in the number of ranch hosts that we have, and that's probably the main factor that's limiting our admissions to 10. So don't be afraid to hop in there and show us that this program is popular enough that we need to increase that number from 10.
Yeah.
How many students are normally from a ranching background? Oh yeah, that's a great question. You want to know honestly, right? Less than 50% of my students in this program are coming from a ranching background. Of the 6 students that I placed on internships this summer for their first year interns, I have 2 that come from a ranching background. And the
Wow.
rest of them are novices from everywhere from New Jersey to California and all states in between.
Very
Yeah, so
cool.
it's really diverse.
Yeah, that's awesome. If I could go back to the last question that was asked about that, how many students are admitted into the program as first year students, and then that placement moving forward. I always kind of look at some of the degree programs at Montana State that operate like that. I genuinely look at that as a good thing. If you're really interested in a career and in a degree program in ranching systems, you really don't want to be sitting around students who aren't motivated the same way that you are. You want to be with those like-minded students who are into it. They didn't throw a dart at a board and land on it, but they're passionate about it. That's what's going to push you to be a better student. You're going to push them to be a better student. And that really kind of raises the profile of the program in general. And so I really don't want students to shy away from, how many you're in and how can I work my way into that 10. If you're motivated, you're going to be in the 10. If it's a passion for you, it's something that more often than not, I think does end up working out for students. So
That's a perfect answer, Anders. I couldn't have done it any better. I mean, really, it is. When I tell prospective students who are visiting, I'm like, you just decide you want to be one of the 10, and you will be there. The ones that decide they are going to be successful and be one of those 10 are one of those 10.
yeah,
They're the ones that wind up. They stick to it. They do all the things, and they make it really well. Hey, Alex, I saw that you put a question in there. I visited with Alex before. Sometime he came and visited the campus. So yeah, Alex asked about how many students typically are veterans in the program each year. And we do have 1 to 2 veterans of a 10 is pretty typical each year. And I just really appreciate my veteran students. They are awesome. They provide such leadership to this program, and so I'm really looking forward to having Alex on campus and being in that position as well, moving forward with this cohort. And then,
One of the real brag points for Montana State University this year is we were recognized as the number 3 veteran and military friendly college campus in the entire nation. And if you look at the other 2 schools that are ahead of us, they're much different institutions. One of them is a private school, one of them is just a much smaller school. And so as a public land grant institution, to be doing the work that we do for our veteran students and the families of veterans that have earned those VA educational benefits and the support that we have here at Montana State. That's something that we really do wear as a point of pride at Montana State. So thank you for that question. So
yeah. Yeah, and just to add to that really briefly too, I think there is just such a tremendous tie between the ranching community, the agriculture community, and veterans as well. The director of our livestock services here at MSU is a veteran. Have another ranch that is managed by a retired Navy SEAL. And so we have a great support network, not just on campus, but also out in the ranching community for veterans as well. And so that's really exciting. Is there other questions? Deanne, thanks so much for the great comment. I appreciate that.
yeah, for
We're
sure.
excited about this program. Have a number of students from California. Great students in the program. But the very first graduate from the ranching systems program was from California and is working on a ranch in Montana right now and doing extremely well. And maybe that's something I should touch on really quick too, and that is we have had 4 graduates from the program so far. We're still really new, and we started right up in the middle of COVID too, which also made it complicated. And those 4 graduates all had jobs on ranches before they graduated.
Awesome.
Yeah, and still working in the field, still working, moving up on ranches and just continuing to gain more responsibility in their current positions.
Very cool. Well, gang, we just got a couple of minutes left. So if there's any last minute questions, we have about 5 minutes left. that we could take those in and answer them. If not, again, I know I've said it 100 times tonight, but thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the interest in the program. We hope to see a good number of you joining into this program and building upon its traditions and building upon its successes, not just this semester, but moving forward as well. So I hope that we were able to answer some questions and give you all some insight, and hopefully for some of you, illuminate some opportunities through ranching systems, and for others of you to really reinforce that decision that you've made to dive into this unique program that really is one of the things that makes MSU as special as we are for students that are interested not just in the College of Agriculture, but for getting your fingernails dirty and working on ranches across the country. So with that, I think I'm not seeing any other questions come in. So I just want to say to Liz and to Rachel, thank you both as well. Thank you for offering your time this evening to highlight this program, to continue to highlight the College of Agriculture that really serves as the backbone of Montana State University. I sincerely appreciate your time. And for all of our attendees, like I said earlier, we've recorded tonight's session. So we're going to process that recording. We'll post it onto our Webinar Wednesday homepage, hopefully as early as tomorrow afternoon. And we'll be sending out that recording to everybody who's registered as well. So thank you all again for your time. I hope to keep in touch with you all, and hopefully we'll see you on campus soon. Go Cats.
Yes, thank you. Look forward to seeing you guys at orientation. I'll be there.
All right, nice. Thank you all.
Thanks. Right, end it for all.